Hello everybody and welcome back to probably the biggest video that I'll ever make. This is the culmination of 3 years of work in a little project that I call Frostygon. Might even be more than 3 years because I had it on the brain but never could execute it in any kind of meaningful way in the early stages. But yeah, let's like I said, we're gonna go on a journey today. I got my coffee. Do you got your coffee? Hold on, get a little sip. Got my coffee. All right, have your popcorn. Have your pen and paper, your pen, everything like that, all ready to go. We are going to break down this fully realized version of Frostygon. All right, this has only been able to do this because of the new frost damage scripts that we have been given to an update 43, which we just got. If you look behind me here, I've got a wonderful, the new personal one that you can have in your home, the scribing altar, so I can show you all the things today. That you can get that a bunch of different ways, and you can find that out and how to get those. But we're going to break down Frostygon. Not only so, a lot of the Frostygon videos lately, over the past year or so, have been just updates of what things have been doing and how he's gotten better and the improvements in there. But we're going to go all the way through. I'm going to explain all the different reasons why I picked the things and give you optional things because you might not be able to get the certain gear or certain skills or whatever that I'm using. And then even choices within that. So this is the ultimate guide. Maybe I'm going to name that. This could be the ultimate guide to Frostygon. All right. So let's begin with the gear. Okay. So let's open up. What are we running? We are running, of course, our Oakensoul is what makes this possible. This is a 1-bar build. For a lot of people that might not know, a 1-bar build is a way of kind of reduce a lot of the swapping back and forth, by just going with a 1 bar. Because with this game, you have a front bar and a back bar, and it gives a lot of options for people. A 1 bar kind of limits those options, but it makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more accessible for people who aren't good at switching back to bars, who get a little bit frazzled maybe with that many combinations in there, or just accessibility-wise have a difficult time with their hands and things to be able to finagle a 2-bar build. So that's why we've got a 1-bar build. And they weren't very viable for a long time, and in the last few years, they have been. And so, I started to develop, this with Frostygon because I'm like, oh, we've got a limited amount of frost abilities. We could maybe get them all on a 1-bar eventually. That was kind of my hope back in the day. So that's why we're going with a 1-bar. Now, why I mention that is because the key thing that we got a couple of years ago is this ring called Oakensoul ring. The Oakensoul ring gives you a whole bunch of buffs to your character because you're only using 1 bar. So this actually prevents you from swapping between a front bar and a back bar. So you can only use 1 bar. And it gives you a ton of different things on there. If you look down where it says part of the Oakensoul set ring items, and it says when equipped, you are unable to swap between primary and backup weapon sets, so a front bar and back bar. But you get that whole list. Do you see that whole list? You can even see it a little bit better if you hit C and go into your character category and see all of these are coming from that ring. All right, most of them. Yeah, so we get a lot of different things that help us out. And you can go through there as we look at it to see what each individual little buff that you're getting increases to stamina and to your crit damage and everything. So it's really meant to help you out to kind of bring a 1 bar as much as it can on par with a 2 bar system. So that's why we've gone with that, because we're going with a 1 bar system. So you want that. Now, to kind of be able to create a situation where you can still have 2 full sets, you got to go a half set on something And so we do the the monster set combination. All right, a monster set is the head and the shoulders, and you can get them in a variety of different ways in different trials. Not trials, sorry, in different dungeons. And then you can also purchase them at undaunted vendors through use of keys and stuff. And so the one that I use is Slimecraw. So I don't have the shoulder. We've broken it up and we're just doing the helm. So that's why I kind of say when I describe the build, I go Slimecraw paired with Oakensoul. All right, because we broke up the Slimecraw. We're only using the headpiece, and so the secondary is Oakensoul within that. Now, why Slimecraw? Why not something else? You could actually very much use anything that you want for that helm, because you're only getting the added one piece. You're not going to get the buffs or bonuses of having the 2 items in there. And for some reason, the Slimecraw one, if you look at all the different stats on there, but if you look at the 1 item one there in the middle, it adds 771 crit chance. All right? Usually it's like at a regular helm, it's like 600 if they does the crit chance. Does my Nana talk do that so I can show that real quick? No, that one gives armor. But yeah, a lot of times it's like in the 600s. For some reason, the Slimecraw, I don't know if it was an error or something like that, but just happy accident for us, it gives us a little bit more crit chance. And Slimecraw is pretty easy to get. It's out of Wayrest sewers, and so you can get that fairly easily by going through there. So it's not a hard one, a hard one to get. So yeah. So if you ever wonder why do they choose Slimecraw over something else, it's because it gives us a little bit of extra crit chance in there. Doesn't make a huge difference, not at all. All right, but that's what we do. Okay, so we've got that pairing there. The 2 sets that I am using, okay, is that I'm using Frostbite and I am using Perfected Robe of the Depths. All right, it's the Whirl of the Depths set that you can only get if you do Veteran Dreadsail Reef, one of the hardest veteran trials out there. And you're like, oh my God, I can't do that. I'm like, not many people can. I'm very glad that I was able to go in there and get like this set in there, because it's a very fun set. But here's the thing, you don't have to at all. All right, and I'm going to get back to that in a second. Okay, I'm going to get back to that in a second, because you can even get a lesser version of that and still be awesome. And I'm going to give you a whole list of different ones that you can get, and then maybe use those, and then maybe work up to maybe getting it. Whatever your play is. So don't freak out about it. The one that you really need is the Frostbite. All right, Frostbite is key for us. Okay, because what Frostbite does, it gives us a little bit of a weapon and spell damage, gives us our crit chance in there. But the big thing is the 5 item. Increases your damage done with frost abilities by 8%. All of the things on our bar now are all our abilities on our bar are all frost now. So that's going to be huge. It increases your damage done against chilled enemies, we're going to be chilling them, by 4%, and increases your damage done against enemies afflicted with minor brittle by 2%, and we're going to be firing that off as well. So it is a huge set for us. Now, this set has been long in coming as far as something that really, really has come into its own. It came out with Blackwood, and here's the great thing, it's an overland set. If you go and venture into Blackwood and go kill enemies and go do quests and go do whatevers and stuff in the dungeons and everything in there, you will get yourself a set of Frostbite. If you notice, it does not say Perfected. All right? It is the overland set. Now, it's so common that people even sell it on the traders. So you can go to the traders and for a very reasonable price, get yourself all decked out. And what you're going to want to do is get the whole thing decked out in your sticker book. So if we go to our sticker book over here, our set items, if you're unfamiliar with this, a sticker, actually, no, it's not going to show it. Wait, it won't show it in here because of but it will show for the sticker book, right? Hold on. I always second guess myself. It doesn't show it in here. DLC zone. No, it does. It does. Yeah, I always forget because there's some. No, it's crafted. That's what it is. If it's crafted gear, it won't show up here. But yeah, so this is overland stuff in Blackwood. So you're going to go and you're going to complete your whole sticker book. You're going to get the axes you don't need, the staffs you don't want, the shields you don't need. All right, you're going to do that. Why? Because then you're going to be able to, at a very cheap cost, be able to recreate this. All right, and put on all the things that you want on. Put the correct traits on it, and so forth. All right, if you're not sure how to do this, when you collect items, they appear in your sticker book when you bind them to yourself. And then what happens is that you can go to a transmute station. All right, and see it says reconstruction. You can reconstruct items in here. Oops, I went too far. Frost. All right, so then I could take this, and I'm like, oh, I want to make the robe, but I want to make sure I've got the right trait on it. And you can select it. You can put it to how, legendary. You can, from your research that you've been doing with all of your crafting, you can find the exact thing that you want on it, and you can make the item that you want. All right. So yeah, so that was your first thing. So make sure you've got that whole set. Oh, why you also want to do that? I kind of gleaned on a little bit. Is that the cost of the transmute crystals that you get goes down the more items that you have. All right, so the more items that you have, that cost is going to go down. Yeah. So then it'll be cheaper and cheaper to do things. Because we know transmutes are a little tricky to come by. If you're not sure how to get transmute crystals, there's a variety of different ways of that. I won't go into all of them, but some of them are doing like the Undaunted Dailies will give you transmute crystals. If you do some PvP, you'll get some rewards of the worthy stuff that'll give you some stuff. So there's a variety of different ways of being able to get that. You can check how many in your currency, how many you have. Let's see, transmute crystals right now I have 454 out of 1,000. That fills up pretty quick. So I hold on to the geodes. They have these. Actually, I don't think I have it on this character, but if I go geode, you have all of these transmute geodes that I have on different characters. Some hold. You can actually see the numbers now. Some hold 50. Some hold 10. And so I've got a few backups in case I need it when I'm doing some of my my reconstructions. So yeah, so get yourself that Frostbite set. And actually, you might get it to drop in Divines, which is what we're looking for. So, yeah, so all of our traits on all of our gear is going to be for Divines. Divines is really good. Why you do that is because Divines increases your Mundus Stone effect by a certain amount. And the one that we have picked for that, for our Mundus Stone, is the Thief. The Thief is very good on a lot of different builds in there because it increases your spell critical strike rating by, for me, it's 1982. Good year. All right, and we want that increase of being able to crit, so that crit chance. So it's a very good one to have. Are there other ones there that you could get? Yeah, there's some recovery ones. There's one that gives you, more of a magic pool if you want to have it. So a lot of different choices, but I like that Thief. All right, so that's the reason. Okay, so the reason why we picked Divines is so that we can have that. I have that on all my gear pieces for that. And to complement that, I have for my Enchant, if you see Maximum Magicka Enchant on there, I have that on every piece as well. So on certain pieces like the head, the chest, and the pants, they're much higher. They're 868. On the lesser pieces, they're 351. But you want to have that Magicka Enchant. How do you do that? Well, of course, you go over to here. You go over to your enchanting table. Boom. And you make sure that you're at the highest level that you can do. Truly superb. I make sure it's on the CUDA. And then I go and I click on one of these three buttons when I'm doing stuff. Weapons, jewelry, or armor. So I click on the armor. And there's the Magicka. You have a health option, a magic option, a stamina, prismatic defense option. So, and I would click one of these. And so you just apply it to your gear. Yeah. All right. So there we go. So yeah. So Frostbite in Divines with the Magicka enchant, that's what you want. Does it matter where you put any of it? If it's a ring or anything? Nope, not at all. Why people say, I'm coming up with like answers for like a lot of whys. Why do people put things there? Why do they do that? And why do you have that enchant? I'm trying to answer that today. So that's why the video is going to be a little long. Why does it not matter? People will say, oh, you got to make sure that you have, this here and this there for your gear and stuff. It doesn't matter for us because we're on a 1-bar build. When you're on a 2-bar build, you got to be careful of that because you're swapping weapons. When you're swapping weapons, you might have one weapon that's like, let's say for us, that's Frostbite on the front and a different set on the back. So you would lose, that Frostbite connection to the rest of your gear when you're swapping, bars on there. So you have to be a little bit more aware. So if you ever hear this thing, well, I've got a staff on the back bar and I got daggers on the front bar. Why they do that and why they have those choices is because of that swapping in there. So you want to make sure that you have, everything covered so that you can make the complete sets that you want when you want them. So you have to be careful of that. For us, we don't at all. All right. Slimecraw is going to be at the, for the helm. The Oakensoul is going to be the ring, but everything else could be whatever you want it to be. All right. So you've got Frostbite wherever you want, any of the stuff, going on there. And I'll talk about the rings and stuff, traits in a second. But the staff I wanted to talk about, because the staff does have some different traits and stuff on it. The staff, we want it to be a Inferno Frostbite staff. Cue the... do I have... no, I don't have my sound thing on in there. The record scratch. What? Yeah, this is one of the new moves. All right? And I'll explain a little bit why we've got this new move. The Inferno staff. We're going the Inferno staff of Frostbite and not the Frost staff. Okay? Let me show you why. Well, it's imprecise because we want to have that extra spell crit in there. And we're using the, it's called the Weapon Damage Enchant. It's actually for weapon and spell. So weapon spell damage, you're going to get, when that goes off, you get, in my case, 348 for 5 seconds. All right, so Frostbite. You're just like, well, why do I want a staff of Inferno? Okay, well, they changed up something in the skills. Okay, and actually, you know what? Gosh, because I want to do that all at once. I want to do that all at once. But trust me, there's a reason why we've got the Inferno staff, and we're going to come back to it. I want to stick with the gear for right now. All right, so I've said this over and over again now, stuff like that. Frostbite in Divines, in the things. If you're going to take it as your rings or something like that, all right, you will want the rings in Bloodthirsty. If you look, all of my rings traits are Bloodthirsty. And we're using the spell damage enchant. It's now called a multi-effect enchant because they added a little bit of like recovery on it. If you look at it, it says multi-effect enchant towards the top, adds 174 weapon and spell damage, which it always did. All right, but then they added a little bit of a recovery. If you go with the spell damage one, it gives you Magicka. If you go with the weapon one, so that gives you some stamina recovery. So very, very minor, doesn't really matter, but you want to make sure that you have that the spell damage on there. And let's take a moment to show that. Like I said, I want to try to be as thorough as I can with this, so that if I'm doing, oops. What am I doing? I'm sorry. Whoops. The enchanting one. And here, if I go over to my jewelry glyph, it's the one that is magical harm. We want magical harm. The physical harm gives you a stamina recovery, where the magical one gives you the magical recovery. So that's the one you want. Increase magical harm. So you're going to have that on all 3 of your rings. Yeah. So yeah. So we've covered that. We talked about the rings and the stuff in there. Good. All right. I'm still waiting on the rest of it. Same thing with, for me, for the perfected World of the Depths, Divines, and Magicka for the rest of that set. There. Okay. So I've shown you that, my choices within there. Oh, you might be wondering, why the depths? Why did you go with that one? It's a pretty stout one. I might not be able to get it, but why did you get it? Well, why I got it in here is because it does a couple of things. It's got the Minor Slayer on there, which we actually get with the, I believe, do we get that with the ring too? I always forget. Do we get Minor Slayer? Yeah, we already get it, so we don't have to worry about it. So that's why some of the other choices that I'm going to tell you, you don't really have to worry about it too much in there. But it is my my second 5-item set in here, where it says, when you deal damage with a light attack, you apply Whirl of the Depths to the target, dealing frost damage, we love the frost damage, over 8 seconds. Oh, we love the dots. When this effect ends, a 5-meter whirlpool is created under the target for 6 seconds and deals some more frost damage every 1 second. This effect can occur once every 18 seconds, and it scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. So it's really kind of a fun effect. Basically, you're doing some, you don't even have to think about it. You're doing some damage, and then you start doing some damage over time, then all of a sudden you get this whirlpool underneath, and things die very quickly. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, great animation, with it. I just really like it. So, all right, so you've got that. So now let me give you your list, and we're going to look at other options in here. So, World of the Depths, if you can get it, that's probably the best one. It's a lot of fun with that. The next one on the list that's really good is Ice Furnace. Ice Furnace. So write that down, Ice Furnace. Oops. Why are my stuff not coming up? So it is called Ice Furnace, right? There you go. Yeah, ice. Oh, the Ice Furnace. That's what it is. I didn't know if there was a the in front of it in there, something like that. So let's read what this one gives us. When you deal frost damage, you deal an additional 1185 flame damage to all enemies within 8 meters around the initial target. This effect can occur once every second and scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. Kind of a fun little thing, all right? So you're going to do damage, and when you do all that frost damage, you can do additional flame damage within 8 meters. Totally fun. And it's in heavy, so it gives you a little bit more stoutness. You're able to take a few more hits in there. So there's always a great thing. That Ice Furnace, I believe that's the one that I use for my PvP. I always carry my PvP armor with me. Yep, there it is. Ice Furnace. Yep. All right, so we got our Ice Furnace set, in there as well. All right. Then next one that I would do that'd be fun is Icy Conjurer. Let's find that one. Icy Conjurer. Oh, look at that. I don't have the full set of that one, so you can see it costs a little bit more. It costs 39 transmutes. So, Icy Conjurer. What do we get with this? Applying a minor debuff to your enemy summons a non-reflectable Ice Wraith that will charge into your enemy, dealing 16,000 plus frost damage over 10 seconds. The effect will occur every 10 seconds and scales off of the higher of your weapon or spell damage. This one visually is really cool. Cool. Where you actually are, you're going to apply a debuff just, from either, our chill or whatever. And boom, this Ice Race pops up. And if you've ever had to battle those things where it slowly floats down through you and stuff, it's like, everything. And you do all of this damage over time on frost damage. So again, that one's a fun one to do. And that one's from Frost Vault. All right, if you go to the dungeon, the Frost Vault dungeon, that one's a lot of fun to get. Again, it's not a perfected thing, so you can do it on normal. So you can do this dungeons on normal. Oh, did I say what the ice furnace one was? Hold on, I'll put the ice. The ice. There you go. The ice furnace is from Direfrost Keep. Direfrost Keep is like our bread and butter. Oh my gosh, there's so many great sets that come out of there. Monster sets, you know, with Ice Heart and everything. Direfrost Keep is great. Frost Vault is like, I always say it's like Direfrost 2.0 in there. It's kind of like an upgraded one in there. But again, it's all in, you can go through it in normal and collect your set. So just do a whole bunch of normal runs. And complete it so you have the low cost for your sticker, you know, for your recreation of your sticker book stuff, and you'll be good. So Ice Conjurer, you know, these are 2 easy sets to get, just takes you a little bit of time. Here's probably the next easiest one. So this will be the next one on my list. Winter's Respite. This is the Overland set from the Western Skyrim for the Greymoor chapter in here. And Winter's Respite, a lot of people sleep on this, but it's got great recovery. It's got a ton of maximum Magicka to it. All right, if you just love having a big Magicka pool. And then look at this. Casting abilities that leave an effect on the ground will create a circle of healing frost for 10 seconds. You and your group members restore 3k health every 2 seconds inside the circle. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. All right, and you may be thinking, well, it's not doing any extra damage stuff. Yeah, but it's healing you, and it's big. It's a big circle that goes around. Let me see. It's about as big as this whole room. All right, wall to wall. And so you can battle within this, and you're getting some great healing that's just going to be automatic every time that you do an AoE. So we'll talk about our skills in a second. We've got a couple of great AoEs that we do. So both of those have a chance to conjure that up. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. So it gives you your healing. And like I said, it's overland, just like our Frostbite. So you just do anything over in Greymoor, and you'll be collecting these pieces. Or you can go into a trader and buy the whole set. Put them in there and then recreate it with your transfuse and stuff. Or you might be able to find some that are in Divine already, so you don't have to worry about doing the trades. All right, you just have to maybe upgrade them or something. So that combo of Frostbite and Winter's Respite is probably the basic starter package if you don't want to have to run any dungeons. Really, really, really good to do. And very powerful. Winter's Respite has been very good for a long time in there. And so you pair those two together, you're going to be styling. You're going to be fine. All right. All right, another one. Let's say you like doing Maelstrom Arena. You're like, wait, nobody likes doing it. I like doing, you know, in there. There is a set, and you can just do it on normal. You don't have to do it on vet. All right? And Maelstrom Arena, oh my gosh, I don't even have the whole set. I should. I do it enough. Maybe I just assumed that I had the full set in there. Is Winterborn. So every time that you go in there and in the chest at the end of the stage, or at the end of the level, there's a chest there that you can open up, and it'll give you Winterborn stuff. All right, so it's actually pretty easy to get. Let's see. It says, when you deal frost damage, you summon an ice pillar that deals 5,000 frost damage to all enemies in a 3-meter radius. So you're wailing away, you're doing your frost stuff, and all of a sudden a pillar comes up, and anything around that, you know, for 3 meters is going to get hit. The ice pillar persists for 2 seconds and reduces the movement speed of all the enemies in a radius by 50%. The effect can occur once every 6 seconds, and the damage scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. So really, again, a really fun one, easy to acquire. You just got to spend a little time in the arena. And here's the thing, you don't have to complete the arena to get it. They just come out of the chest. So, in essence, you could go and do round 1, you know, level 1, and just do it, exit out, reset it, wait 5 minutes, do it again. And just, you know, it just takes time. But you would get a full set of Winterborn. Yeah, these cannot be sold on a trader. You've got to earn those yourself. So same things with like Dungeons and the Trial stuff. So yeah, like I said, a fun set. I used this for a while. Really great set in there. Yeah, I like it. The last one, so here we got, so that's a total, let's see, Frostbite, so if you include Frostbite, that's 1, Depths 2, Furnace, Ice Conjurer, Winter's Rest, Winterborn, and this new one. 7 different sets, so we'll say 6 sets along with Frostbite, so 6 different sets that you can get. And the last one is the Iskramor. Yeah. All right. And this one is PvP, which you can just buy. Yeah. All right. And this is very basic. So you can go to any trader and just buy this whole set. It adds extra weapon and spell damage to your frost abilities. Really, really basic. If you don't want any fancy, extra effects, proc effects or anything like that on there and stuff, you just could go and buy this whole set. I think I went to a trader originally and just bought it and got the sticker book. And yeah, so it's just going to give you more, and that number will change because we're just looking at green gear, so that number will go up. Yeah, so add a whole bunch of spell damage. So there you go. So there's all of your set options in there. Some very easy ones to get. Remember, a lot of this, the process of making Frostygon is from those dad build days. I don't really call him a dad build anymore, mostly because Mike Macon won't let me. Because he does so well. Finn won't let me do it either. So because he does so well nowadays and stuff. But yeah, the being able to get something that's easily got. That's why we got it in there. So yeah, so Frostbite, that's the one that is a must. And then you can go with Depths if you're able to get it. Oh, and the Depths, like I said, the only difference between Perfected and the going through on normal is to see where it says the 5-line items. We see all the items on there. At the ones that say 5, the Perfected, the second to last one, just adds a little bit more crit chance. See, it says adds 657 crit chance. That means nothing. That means nothing at all. So that's what's going to go, it's left off of the normal, non-perfected version of that. So go in there on normal if you want. Go and have a great time and just get the regular one. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, so there's all of your gear, all decked out in Divines, all in Magicka. You've got your, like I said, all of your rings, everything, Bloodthirsty with the multi spell enchant on there. And you're using an Inferno staff now, a Frostbite or whatever your combination happens to be, instead of doing the ice staff in there. I'll explain that in a moment. So that covers all of the gear. All right. So let's see. Let's go next with skills. All right. Let's get the skills going here. Okay, so what skills are we using now? Now, this is very important because you've got to do the scribing quest line. All right, on one character at least all the way through. On alt characters, you just got to start it and do like the just beginning area when you're doing that. Get my guy all lined up. And you get a scribing altar. So you go through there and do that because we're going to be using not 1, not 2, but 3 scribing skills. All right. And once you've got that and you're able to, this is the home version, the scribing altar. You go in there. You're going to be scribing 3 skills. Okay. You're going to be taking Elemental Explosion. Okay. And you're going to be putting frost damage. So you got to get the frost script. How to get scripts is specific ones. You can either buy them in the Infinite Archive. You can go to the Scalarium where you do all your your scribing quests and everything like that. There's a seller in there that's on rotation. They've got new ones every week. Same thing with the IA ones in there. Or you go and do the dailies in Westfield. And they will give you, actually you can do any kind of dailies for it. They will actually tell you, let's see, if you hit your skills button and go to the scribing, it'll tell you where to find things. believe, but this guy has them. I think once you get them, they don't tell you anymore in there. But it'll tell you that to get that one, you're going to have to go and kill world bosses, or do a mage guild quest, or do an incursion. It'll tell you. And the guild quest, world bosses, and incursions are the 3 different ways. And I believe that the world bosses are for the focus scripts. The signature scripts come out of doing, I think, just one of almost like a delve daily in there. I think the mages do that in there. They're all kind of associated to different ones within that, and it'll explain it when you put your cursor over it. I believe it doesn't show it right now because I've got that. It doesn't do it if I've got I have extras. Use the things and stuff. Yeah, it doesn't tell you once you have them. Yeah, and after a while, you're just going to get extra ones in there. So yeah, read in your scribing skill area what is needed and what you need to kill and what you need to do. So it'll explain it to you. So, all right, going back to ours. So once you have all of those, for elemental, you just need the frost damage, lingering torment, right, and off balance. So elemental explosion is going to give you this big AoE explosion on the ground. If we put in the frost damage, if you see over here now, it's now going to change that damage to frost damage. If you put lingering torment, it's now going to put a dot. So see, we've got the deals frost damage, deals frost dot damage. And then if you do off balance, I want you to take off balance because in our CP, we're going to get bonuses to off balance. Boom. See, I already have this currently in there. So off balance for 7 seconds. So if we go to that skill now, let's go back to here. All right. We have what's called now Chilling Explosion. Channel the power in your staff and firing a bolt of volatile magic, causing a elemental explosion at the target location. So you do a direct damage of frost damage for that amount. Then you do damage over time. And then you set everything off balance in there. And we're going to be doing a whole bunch of damage to off balance enemies for 7 seconds. All right, so there's Chilling Explosion. Looks really cool. I think you kind of can see it in the house. It's huge. Big old AoE and stuff. Yeah, really cool. You get the big old whiteout for a while. All right. So that's our first one. Second skill on the bar is from Wield Soul. So you get Wield Soul. Once you have that frost damage script, it's going to apply to all of your skills. So you only specifically need these 3 ones for right now. So frost, boom. It's now what this one is. Now this is a single target skill. So you're hitting something with a single target. And so instead of doing magic damage, we are now doing frost damage. We also are going to put that lingering torment on there for the dot. And then we're going to add Breach to this. Breach is going to give us for 10 seconds, it's going to be reducing their physical and spell resistance by almost 6k. All right, so that match of off balance and Breach, very, very good. Very, very strong. And it's on an individual. And what's kind of cool is that whether you're doing a shock or magic or frost, and this is one of the new ones, that they added just this update, you get you're actually throwing out like a snowball or some type of frost spell, missile kind of thing at them. Looks really cool. I'll show you later. So Chilling Soul. So that one. Our last one that we're doing is also a new one that we can do. The skill's been around, but now we've got a chilling version of this. It's called Chilling Burst. So you go in here and you go into Soul Burst. You had that frost damage that we talked about. You're going to do the Lingering Torment again. But the great thing about this one, where the first one was a big AoE, direct damage, dot damage, off balance, when the second one was a single target, frost damage over time, and breach to reduce their resistances. This one is an AoE around you. So this is when all the enemies start to close in on you. So you're going to do frost damage. You'll do some lingering frost damage to it. And then I want you to take a different one. All right? So not breach this time, because we already got breach. We're going to take maim. But maim does a similar thing where it afflicts enemies with maim for 20 seconds, reducing their damage done by 5%. All right? This is getting us back, if you remember for the old build, what we had on there, and which was actually difficult for some people to get, we had Revealing Flare. All right? That was from the last iteration of this build in there, where we just used it for the passive, where it says, when slotted, you get major protection, reducing your damage taken by 10%. That was the big thing, is that we got 10%. We didn't even have to worry about it. All right? Now, I still suggest that you keep this around, because if you're in a situation where, like, you don't really, like a later IA round, where you're like, I don't really need the extra, damage from, maybe one of these, but I could use a little bit of extra protection and add that 10%, just like swap it out. Swap it out with anything that you feel like you're not using, and you'll get a 10% flat damage, and you'll also get that reduced damage by 5% as well. So this is replacing this. It's now an active skill, but we are getting the damage and damage over time with it. And oh my gosh, that's a great thing. If you do it for like Magicka, it's got a little blowing up of Magicka energy. If you do it with shock, it does kind of like a shock energy. But I think, and I may be biased, and I know I am, but you do this with a frost ability. Boom! I love it! The cloud goes everywhere, and you see chunks of ice. Oh, it's so cool. It's one of my favorite things. And you can tell when enemies have it applied to them, because you get this cloudy frost. This cloud of frost around the enemies. So you can visually see that they have the debuff on them and are getting affected by it. So I love it. It really is great. The visual, they nailed it on the visuals for that one. So, all right. So, Chilling Explosion, Chilling Soul, and Chilling Burst. Those are our 3 skills that we are using. All right. Absolutely love it. Okay. What are our other skills? Well, we need another AoE. So Winter's Revenge. We're taking that right out of the Winter's Embrace. All right. Winter's Revenge. Putting that in there. And then we need a heal. Now this, for the longest time, was Arctic Blast. Arctic Blast has changed in this update. It was too powerful. It was especially too powerful in PvP. And what it was doing is that, is that it gives a heal right up front. So it gives the heal right up front. It gives a damage over time, and it also would stun. It would, you'd see them freeze in place, enemies. And that was just too much for one skill. We loved it because for the longest time the warden, wasn't the strongest of our classes out there. And so, especially if you went all Frost Warden like I was doing. And so it was really great to have that. But now that we've gotten stronger, it was a little bit too strong. And so they've taken that away and they readjusted it. And what they did with it, I'd have to go and redo it to show you about it. I'll just tell you about it. Is that they made it so that it's dependent on whether or not you hit an enemy, whether you get a heal or damage. So you would fire it off, it would look just like it did, but you would either, if you hit any enemies, you would do damage to the enemies. If you weren't around any enemies, it healed you. Well, I don't know about you. But I always find myself standing in the middle of enemies when I need a really big heal. And so it wouldn't work anymore for me because, if I blast that, it would hit an enemy and so it would do damage. It wouldn't hit me. It wouldn't heal me anymore. And so, so the Arctic Blast is very powerful. It is a skill if you're able to finagle, getting in and out of damage and in and out of the enemies so that you don't hit them, so that you can get that heal. It is a good heal, but I need a heal all the time. I actually start with the heal. It actually is the first thing I click before I go into battle, so I've got some healing stuff going right off the bat. So I went with the other morph, which is absolutely fantastic. It's such a great heal. So it gives us over 8k healing, and then gives us 2k heals every 2 seconds for 10 seconds, based off of your maximum health. So it's a wonderful, wonderful heal. So I went with that. And I could go with that because we are getting an extra damage from the burst. So I always kind of feel like the Arctic Blast, you could do Arctic Blast and so here's like an option thing. If you're able to finagle the Arctic Blast, you could put it there and then bring in, or you could keep this too, bring in the protection, thing back from the Alliance stuff and put that in there so that you've got a heal and damage in that. So I kind of feel like we've almost broken up the Arctic into two stronger aspects. We've got a stronger heal and heal over time, and we've got this, bigger frost damage and damage over time by doing that, and removing that revealing flare. So that's why I went with that. But again, here are some options that you can have, within there. So, and then our last skill that comes from our mages, all right, from the Mages Guild, okay, is Ice Comet. Now, this is twofold. A, it's ice. But B, if you go through and do the achievements, you can actually turn it orange. I know, I may be biased. I think it is the best ulti now in the game because it is full on orange when you do it. But it is very, very powerful. You call down a comet, you do a frost damage to all enemies in the area, you knock them down, you're stunning them for 2 seconds, you're reducing their movement speed in there, and after the impact, enemies that are targeted area take frost damage every second for 13 seconds. So it really annihilates the group. So it's really fantastic. And so if you're able to catch it, one of the things that I love doing, even just with 2 skills, if you're able to throw down the Chilling Explosion, you set them off balance. We're going to look at our CP that we do more damage to off balance enemies. And then you hit them with an Ice Comet, not much is going to survive. Yeah, tons and tons of damage. Just love it. So, all right. So yeah, those are the skills. Again, Chilling Explosion, Scribing skill, Chilling Soul, Scribing skill, Winter's Revenge from our Winter's Embrace, Polar Wind, our heal from there, Chilling Burst, our last of our Scribing skills, and then the Ice Comet from the Mage Guilds. So that's where you get them. For anything where these are, take all the passes. I usually take the passives in like kind of everything because I got so many skill points because I play this guy so much. These are extra skill points that I don't even use in here. But let's see. If it came down to it, you don't really need the Animal Companion one. Yeah, because we got nothing in there. I mean, I've got points and stuff, but nothing that we're using. The Green Balance, nothing in there except the last one. A lot of people don't realize this. You want to take that very last one because when you activate a heal, which still counts with Polar Wind, on yourself or an ally, you grant yourself or a target minor toughness. Increases their max health by 10% for 20 seconds. Yep. Really wonderful. So if you see, what is it? I've got my... Do I have my food on? Yeah. With my health, I'm at 24. Put on that Polar Wind. Boom. You can see like right here in the middle. See how I've got minor toughness is now on. All right. And you can see that I've gone up to 26, 784. Yeah. There you go. All right. So, yeah, make sure to click that. A lot of people forget about that. Yeah. All right. And then, of course, the Winter's Embrace, you're going to take all the passes. All the passes in here. Let's talk about one specific, because this is a big change. And it's really the reason why we pick the staff that I'm picking now. All right. It's called Piercing Cold. Piercing Cold used to be that you would do extra 12% damage when it had both points into it when you are holding a Frost Staff. So that's why all of your Wardens were holding Frost Staffs. And Frost Staffs are actually kind of cool too, because when you would do a heavy attack, you get a shield put around you, and you had extra to blocking, with it. But the Piercing Cold aspect of it is that you did 12% more damage. So that was fantastic. That was a big jump for us in the damage. But they've changed it. All right? And at first it'll look like a nerf, but it actually isn't a nerf to it because we get different weapon options. So let me explain. Let me read it. So it's dealing frost damage grants you Piercing Cold for 6 seconds, up once from every 4 seconds. So we basically have it up all the time. Piercing Cold increases the amount of damage you block by 12% if you have 30k or more max health. This is how they're kind of getting around a little bit of the PvP, wardens, those tank wardens that you can never kill in PvP. They're trying to help you out with that because basically the wardens had the ability to be very, very tanky, very, very high health, and still be able to pump out some good damage in there. So now you kind of balance it. If you're over 30k health, which it's going to be what you're going to have for a tank, all right, you get block by 12%. If you are below that, it'll increase your damage by 8%. So if you see, even with my Polar Wind that gave us our toughness and got up there, we're still well below that. So we don't have to worry about that at all. And all the other gear that I gave you and all the stuff isn't going to affect that and push us over 30 and stuff. You'd have to go with some other gear stuff to push you over 30. So we are going to get that damage. We're going to get that 8% more damage. All right. Well, you might be thinking, 8%? That's down from the 12% with the staff. Rage! And I was kind of like that at first, to be honest, too. I was like, oh, no, it's there. Wait a second. That means that we have some options within staffs. And actually, I didn't even think about it till today. You could use a bow. The only thing with a bow is that you don't get you get stamina back instead of a magicka back when you do a heavy attack in there. But you now have all of these weapon options in there. We're still going to go with the destruction staff. All right? But the destruction staff, now we've got options because of a few passes in here. With the tri-focus, all right, you can now either go with an Inferno staff to give you additional flame damage, all right, which is what we picked. You could go with a lightning staff so your attacks do 100% of the damage done to nearby enemies. You could do a fully charged ice staff that grants you that shield that I mentioned about and absorbs all that damage. All right, so you could still go with that frost staff if you want to be a little bit tankier. And I'm actually going to hold on to it and probably move to it in later stages of IA where I need a little bit of an extra shield. All right, and let's see, while ice staff is equipped, the blocking costs Magicka instead of stamina on there. So now you've got some options within here. And actually, frankly, I might also try it with a lightning staff to be able to see how it is for the nearby enemies. And actually, lightning's going to give us direct damage through another passive. So you've got some of these options. So I went with a fire Inferno staff so that we've got another dot option. So if I do a heavy attack, which I usually do, now I can put another big dot for 20 seconds, onto the enemy. Oh, that coffee's good. I went with maple pecan today. Oh, so good. So, yeah. So go with what you feel. So I'm saying Inferno for my build purposes, but you can go whatever you want. And like I said, I think I'm going to carry all three just so that I can swap in some options. So the other one in here is the Ancient Knowledge. Ancient Knowledge we get the Inferno Staff that will increase your damage done with damage over time and status effects. That's a big one. That's kind of why I went with the Inferno in there. So all of that wonderful damage over time, all of our dots that we're now incorporating is going to be 12% more damage. And then the status effects, especially, you know, all those big status effects and focus effort stuff in IA, Infinite Archive, and there are all going to go up. So that makes it pretty powerful. But you could also go with like I said, the Lightning Staff increases the damage over direct damage. So that's that upfront damage. So like, you know, when you're looking at here and it lists, you know, deals frost damage over time, etc. That first line, that's the direct damage. So direct damage is that frost damage. So if I am wielding a Lightning Staff, that number's going to go up. All right, so that number is going to go up if I do that. And channeled effects, we don't really have any channeled effects. And then equipping an Ice Staff reduces the cost of blocking, increases the amount of damage you block. Again, like I said, very helpful in like IA, or if you have to kind of like, you know, if you're in any situation where you're kind of, you need a little bit more damage mitigation, boom, Ice Staff is still really good for that. So yeah, so you got your Ice Staff to first help you out if you're getting beaten on, wailed on, and you need a little bit of shielding or you know, extra damage mitigation. You got your Lightning Staff to do more direct damage and some enemy damage around with a heavy attack, and then you've got the Inferno Staffs that do help us out with our dots or status effects and give us an extra dot by doing a heavy attack. So that's why I chose those weapons. So there's the why. All right, so we got all our class stuff I explained all the passes of why we're doing that in there. And also, I picked the ultimate for the Mage's Guild because of the Ice Comet. You can very much, if you like placing, because with like Ice Comet, you have to have an enemy selected in there. But if you like being able to put down your alties and place it in a certain place between enemies or whatever and stuff, you could still do you know, your Elemental Storm. Still really great one to be able to do. So and it does have some colors, you know, in there as well. So all right, so that's our destructive stuff like that. Armor, we've got light and medium. I've got heavy selected, but we don't have any bonuses into it. So your light armor is going to give you stuff. Your medium armor is going to give you some, because we went with the medium helm. Yeah, that's what I did. So I put medium for the helm on there just so that we could get some of those medium bonuses on there. But everything else is light. So it's 1 medium, 6 light, if you know that kind of designation system in there. So 1 medium, 1 that. I guess you could put that, instead of that medium, you could put in the heavy if you wanted to have some more, like I said, some more damage mitigation and get those bonuses. You could do that as well. So again, options. We've got options. Let's see, world stuff. That's just your own thing. Except for the soul magic, because this is where we get the Chilling Soul and Chilling Burst. If you wondered where do those skills fall under, they fall under World, which is new for me going into IA, because there is a verse in there that actually buffs your World abilities. And so I have to remember that. Oh, yeah, that's going to buff these. So I'll take that from time to time now in there. And let's see. There really isn't any passives that really kind of help it out. But I'm going to mention this because I always forget that this is here. It's called Soul Shatter. When your health drops below 20%, your soul explodes, dealing 2k magic damage to enemies within 8 meters of you. It can only happen every 2 minutes. It's not really that great, but it's damage. You know, I forget that it's there. And so you never know. Maybe you're like below 20% and you've got that enemy that's like in the point whatever percentage, you know, and it goes off and you're able to, you know, to finish him off. And you're like, oh my gosh, how did I do that? It might be, you know, the Soul Shatter. So you never know. Yeah. So might as well have it. Guild stuff. Let's see. Of course, I do the 1 point in the fighters because of the intimidation. The Mages Guild. Put everything into it because we've got the Ice Comet. That's a big one. So everything's going to be there. Again, in IA, when it says one of the verses is for a guild, it gives you bonus to guild abilities. I think there's one in there that gives you like 145% to guild ability in there. That makes our Ice Comet just like, oh my gosh. If I'm going up against a boss round and I see that there's a guild ability one, I take that. Again, I throw this down. We get the off-balance bonus. We get the 145% for the thing. And I launch that Ice Comet. Yeah, not much survives. It does not much. So, Mage's Guild. Nothing from Sajic or anything. The Undaunted. Get that up. Put that into, that gives us a little bit bonuses to our stats, our staminas and healths and stuff based upon our 2 different armors. And 4% to all of our increases that. So, might as well. It's a little bit of bonus. The Alliance War. Keep that on the, in the background. Keep that on hold. That flare in case you got it. If you didn't get it and you're like, oh man, I hate, doing PvP or whatever. Now you don't have to do it. Absolutely fantastic. Now you do not have to do it. Yeah, so it replaces that. But if you did it, you got it, still keep it on there. Because like I said, you can always throw it in, into, a skill that you're not using a lot. Or sometimes I put it on my Chilling Explosion just because this is a slow skill. If I need something fast, in there, I'll throw that in there and stuff. So yeah. So that's that. All the points into the racial, and then for any of the crafting stuff, the only one that really kind of affects provisioning, just to make sure that all your potions last longer and stuff. But I don't think there's anything else too much that we need. There you go. So there's your skills and all of your skill points. Like I said, I wanted to go through that fully because I hadn't done it in a while. And so now you got everything that you need for all of that. Okay, so that does the skills stuff in there. Let's just talk about... Do I have my food? Just making sure my food's on. Attributes. Everything is going to be into Magicka for us. If you want, you can look at my stats for what I've got. My Magicka is up to 30. The health is around 24. Stamina. Recovery, I'm not too worried about Magicka recovery because I use heavy attacks. So make sure you use your heavy attacks if you're finding that you need more Magicka. Because we want to do the heavy attacks because that gives us a good dot. So yeah, it just works. Spell damage, 43, 67, unbuffed. Spell crit, plenty. Anything over 50 is great. Yeah, spell penetration is awesome. Our resistances. There's all of our effects on there. We're using the Boon of the Thief that we talked about. And I'm using Sugar Skulls. I love it. If you can afford to make it, it's actually, it's cool, but it's not too pricey to make. In there, it's going to give you a lot to your health, a lot to your stamina, and a lot to your Magicka. Again, and it gives you health recovery, which is wonderful. I like focusing in on the health and the health recovery in there because the recovery part that like a Witch Mother would give you or something, we don't need because we're doing the heavy attacks. So again, if you're finding that you're out of Magicka too quickly, you got to throw some heavy attacks in there within that. And like I said, you're going to want to because we got that damage over time with the heavy attacks. And even when we were using the Ice Staff, you want that heavy attack in there to give you a shield. So it's really beneficial to do the heavy attacks. So Witch Mothers is a good cheap option in there, but if you can, go with that. Okay, so we did the skills, we did the pass, we did the stuff. Let's see, food, potions. I still just use the freebies that we get in our monthly rewards, our daily rewards. The Crown Restoration, I haven't had to buy a pot in like forever. They just kind of stack up, and this is just on this character. I mean, I've got maybe about 50 fully decked out, 200s, all over all my characters, and in storage as well. So yeah. So get those. I like that because it restores your health, magicka, and stamina. Grants your fortitudes, all your things that you need in there, and gives you some nice recovery on everything. So if I need it, I got it. Let's see. Attribute stuff like that. Race. Oh, you gotta be doing the Khajiit. I may be biased. No, I'm joking. You could actually use this for any race. Argonians, Nords. Nords actually do very well, and it's kind of thematic a little bit with all the cold weather stuff like that. You can do Dunmer. You can do, Breton. You can do anything with it. You know me. I love my Khajiit. And I like kind of how they're balanced in there. A little bit of health, a little bit of magicka, a little bit of stamina recovery, a little increase to all the stats, a little bit extra to all of my, a little bit extra to all of my, crit damage. It's always kind of nice, So a little bit of this, a little bit of that in there. But again, you could use anything that you want for it. But I'm biased. So that's why I always say in all my builds, it's like, I like Khajiit, but you do you. So, but really, it's kind of a nice thing is that it doesn't matter at all. It really doesn't matter at all of what you're using in there. So build yourself a nice big Nord, an Imperial, whatever. It's just great. So, all right. Then, so we did that, and I explained everything for all the skills. Last thing, I believe, is the CP. Let's go through that. Okay, green CP doesn't really matter too much, of where you're putting all your points. It matters, all your point stuff, because it doesn't really affect the build. Rationer is kind of a nice one to get to just so that all of your food and stuff lasts longer, so makes it a little bit better for that. One of the biggest ones is the blue. We're going with Wrathful Strikes, gives us a little bit more to our spell damage. We're going with Fighting Finesse, giving ourselves that extra chance to crit. Weapons Expert, which increases your light and heavy attacks in there. Now, I was kind of maybe wanting to change it because of direct damage, or I was thinking of maybe changing that to Thaumaturge, or Biting Aura. I was looking at, or Master at Arms. I was looking at all that stuff. But all of these, ever since they made a change, I don't know if it was last year or a little bit before that, they're all now at 6%. That's minimal. You're not going to see a huge difference unless you've got nothing else to pick with a 6% damage. You are going to see a big jump in a 20% damage done. So that's why, and the Weapons Expert is in the purple. Is it down here? Yeah, Weapons Expert. Increase your damage done with light and heavy attacks by 20%. So if you're doing light attacks, you're going to do more damage. If you're doing heavy attacks, you're going to do more damage. Yeah. And like I said, we're doing our heavy attacks because we want to get the extra dot damage and stuff. So all of that really helps. So 20%, it's just too good, compared to the other ones. So stay with that. And then our last one is the Exploiter. We're using that one. Look at that, 10% extra damage on everything when they get set off balance. And we've got our first skill there, the Chilling Explosion there to be able to do that for 7 seconds. So, absolutely wonderful, wonderful. All right, how am I doing on time? Oh my gosh, are we over an hour for this video? Oh my gosh, everybody. This is a thorough video. I love it. And then take all the passives. If you don't know it, there's all passives, within everything. Like this one where you're not actually applying it to a bar. You've got your stamina passive. You've got your magicka passive. So make sure that you're taking all those. There's passives within here. Piercing. increased chance of magical status, grants spell damage to magical attacks. All of those. Go through and do all of those, and get that done. And then for the red tree, for the fitness, you're going to do Boundless Vitality, health, Fortified, give her a little bit of armor, Siphoning spell so that when we kill, we get some Magicka back, so that'll help us a little bit. I find that one a little bit better than using the Rejuvenation. Rejuvenation only gives us 90 more, and again, we're doing our heavy attacks. You could do it if you want to, but I like the Siphoning better. And then Celerity, just so we can run around and move faster. Right, 10% movement speed. Could you add something else in there? Like if you're doing like a trial or something, and you want a faster res or something, go for it. Actually, I would probably keep the Celerity, take out the summoning, the siphoning. I keep saying summoning, but siphoning spells, and put the faster res. That would probably be the switch that I would make in there. But yeah. So yeah, you actually have a lot of play in here. If you need it in certain situations, you can put in Slippery or something like that. And again, put in all the passes so that you get all the passes, all the increase for blocking and bashing and things and stuff. So yeah. All right. Boom. Okay, let's go through the list. I think that's it. Oh my gosh, did he actually do it? Okay, so we went through all the gear stuff, and I explained everything and why we did all the gear. We went through all of the, so we did all the gear stuff. We went through everything, explained all the why and what we're doing in there. We went through all of the skills, and we explained all the stuff for the scribing and how we got to the scribing skills. Like I said, everything now is frost damage throughout the whole thing. So Frostbite, our gear, does tremendous for us now. Talked about taking all the passives that we were doing in there. We talked about all the attributes. We talked about the Mundus for the thief. We talked about our food. We talked about our potions. We talked about what race that we were doing. And then we just finished up doing all the CP. I believe that's it. If I miss anything, I'll put it down in the description below. So I'll have a whole write-up in the description below. Open that up and see everything. So you can always refer back to it of what you're doing with all of that. And yeah. If you want to see some of the other ones real quick, I can do that. Let's do that real quick. So, our big guy. Elemental Explosion. Love it. You saw the off balance being set on there. Look at that. There's that frost. I love it. It also does, I think farther away does a little bit of an arc. Yeah. Got a frost attack in there. It's got a little trail on it. That is our Chilling Soul. We put down our Winter's Revenge on there. We have our heal for ourselves. And then, of course, we have our Soul Burst, which you see if I move away. Can you see the little cloud on him? Let me see if I do it on the big guy. If I do it on the big guy. Let's see. Yeah, right in the center. You can see. Oh, yeah, on his hands and his fingers, you can see the cloudiness. Yeah. So that lasts a while. And then, of course, the big orange explosion. Go get him. Oh, so good. Best skill in the game. Hugely biased. Hugely. So I am having a blast with this. What are the applications? It's for everything. It's for absolutely everything. All right. You can use this in trials. I have. Even in the hardest trials. I've used this in dungeons. I've used this in arenas. I've used soloing. I've done it against world bosses. And it's not a glass cannon, which is a very good thing. I mean, here's the thing with this and stuff like that. Because I know a lot of people look at it. And you can even see, I even have my combat metrics thing down, of showing how much damage I'm doing. The DPS is not going to be reflective of the damage that you're doing. Because we are very focused on a lot of dots in there. So if you do this and you see you're only pumping out 30k damage, which actually would be pretty good in there. And you're like, wait, that's not the 130 that a warden can do that I've seen, on the, a lot of videos and stuff by some wonderful people that we know. Everything. That's not what this build does. It's the survivor. A lot of those warden builds, stuff like that, they're not worrying about healing. They're not worrying about surviving. They're not worrying about hitting more than one enemy. They're just parsing on one enemy. All right? For us, when we're taking on a whole lot of enemies, we got enemies surrounding us, we got to be mobile, we got to be moving and stuff. We're all about surviving. I have taken some of my big parse, versions, and tried to kill like a world boss, especially a world boss in Rivenspire that everybody, that's tough for everybody, or even the world, in like the new areas and stuff, a lot of those dolmen bosses in there, and you just get destroyed. This thing can survive because I can lay down a dot. Boom. Do another dot. Lay down another dot. They get close to me. Boom, I lay down another dot. And then I do a big one here, and then I can just run. I just run away, dodge. Look at that. I even dodged out of a good thing. Dodge, run. And look at all the damage. I don't even have to do any more damage. Look at my damage down below. 37k. 35k. I'm not hitting him with anything. 32. Oh, and I could also do another, one from there for a dot there. Ooh, look at that. That critted for 70k. See what I mean? That's what this is. That's what Frostygon has always been. It's been one of these where it's not trying to do the most parsing damage. Because a lot of people thinking, if I'm not doing parsing damage, I'm not doing good damage. No. I might take a couple more seconds to kill this, but it's going to be in a much easier way. When you do those parses, a really, really good parse takes like 2 minutes and 30 seconds-ish. I think that's like really, really good in there. This build would probably take, 3 minutes, maybe 30 extra seconds to kill, a ginormous boss. But he's still killing, and I'm still surviving, and I don't need somebody else to heal me. So, yeah. So does that make sense? Hope that makes sense. A lot, I have to explain this a lot in my live streams and stuff to people that don't get hung up on the DPS numbers, because the DPS numbers for a build like this is not what it's all about. Yeah, you're going to do plenty of damage, and you're going to be able to survive, and it's so much fun. I tell you, will this reach both of them? Yep. I exploded, I hit both of them. Look at that. He got dizzied too. He's dizzied a world, a trial boss. So, anywho, all right. I should end that up because it's like, oh gosh, it's an hour and 17 minutes on this. So, anywho, thank you everybody for watching. If you watched all the way through, big thumbs up for me. Thank you. Yeah, I believe I covered everything that we needed to cover in there. Make this build. This is the ultimate version of this build that I always hoped that it could be. And I am literally having a blast going through and doing all of the new content in IA and all the things and going through all the trials and testing this thing out and just having a ball. I'm not even testing anymore. I'm just enjoying. This build works. It's phenomenal and it's a lot of fun. And I think you'll really, really enjoy it. And one of the greatest things about it too is that you can put it together fairly easily. Yeah. So, which is always kind of a fun thing. So, because it's tough when the basis of the builds are getting a lot of perfected gear out of a lot of places that a lot of us don't go into or can't go into. Just because we're not in those guilds, or we're not in. Or we don't know a lot of people to be able to put together a trial guild, a trial group to get together. So anyway, thank you everybody so much for this. This has been like a culmination of 3 years plus of work to get this done. I hope I explained everything thoroughly. I really tried to make this a big video so that you really have an all-in-one resource of what we're doing, why we're doing it, why I picked all the stuff that I wanted to do. And it showed you that you can do this, and you can have a lot of fun with this in a very specialized, build, which is what this is. And, it's a lot of fun. So Frostygon, the Snow Khajiit, in his heyday right now. I hope this lasts for a long, long time. So thank you, everybody, for checking out the video. Go check out the other videos. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do that. And please leave a comment below. Let me know if you're doing this. Let me know what you think of the build. I really appreciate it. I've been enjoying doing all these videos and stuff for you. So, all right, everybody, have a great rest of your day and week and year and everything, and be safe. And I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.